You're listening to The Rough Draft, a not-so-average personal development podcast for purpose-driven women ready to rewrite their story. It's a show about evolution, changing narratives, and rewriting our life's rough drafts. I interview some of the world's top female leaders in business, energetics, love, relationships, money, and personal power about their humble beginnings and shifts that got them here. I'm your host, Sabrina Greer, writer, speaker, book publisher, serial entrepreneur, and mentor to women in life and business. Let's rewrite. Welcome back to the Rough Draft podcast. I am excited for my guest today, my last but certainly not least guest of this season. Can you believe it? Oh my goodness. I have Celeste Pennington here with me. I'm just going to share a little bit about her and then we're going to dive right in. Celeste Pennington is a writer, life designer, and transformational mentor who believes that choosing yourself is the most powerful decision you can make. After walking away from a 9-to-5, selling everything and moving abroad with her family, she has intentionally crafted a soul-aligned life centered on freedom and expansion. Her upcoming memoir, The Love List, Fast Track to Forever, tells the true story of how she manifested her husband by writing a list and how saying no to a misaligned life opened the door to everything she dreamed of. Through her coaching and storytelling, Celeste helps others clear old patterns, trust their intuition, and consciously create the life and love they know they're meant for. But I'm so excited. Well, welcome, Celeste. Welcome.
Ooh, we're here.
We're here. I can't even believe it. The Love List available. Go get it. If you're listening to this podcast, you can go buy it on Amazon today. So that is very, very exciting. I know it's been a journey. So why don't we start there? Tell us a little bit about the journey, because I obviously know it, but our listeners do not. You know, how we got here. Because I know when I first spoke to you, I guess it was close to a year ago now.
Yep.
This was a very different story. So why don't we start there?
Yeah, I know. So the Love List, for anybody, if anyone loves romance, then you want the book. If you love a memoir and also like love, then you want to read the book. Because I still, even at this point, I'm like, is it a memoir that happens to be a romance, or is it a romance that happens to be a true story? So it really is, it's because it's mine, because it's my story, which made the writing of it, to be honest, the easiest part was just writing it. And it's been 15 years in the making of, you know, when this whole thing went down and this whole story happened. And it is a year in the life of this list that gave me permission to leave a relationship that was not healthy, to take a chance on maybe that I could have it all. Maybe I could truly find a partner that I dreamt about and had the life that I dreamt about, and took a chance. And within a year, I got rid of what did not serve me, which made space for welcoming in what did, and then entered Dave. And he came in and we fell hard and fast, extremely quickly. And so I kind of knew that the story itself was a unique one. I'm still on the fence whether I want to share the ending of kind of how fast things really went down for us. But I think it's divine timing that 15 years later is the right time to share this story, and not even like just at the beginning of the relationship, but to show that you can know immediately with somebody that they're your person. And that's only been proven over and over and over throughout the years. And now 15 years later, we couldn't be more in love with our life and more in love with each other and our family and everything that we have. And so everything that happened that year was what I thought it was. And then, I've been reading romance for years. And every time I read romance, I just, my story wasn't on the pages. And so I was like, I think I need to put it out there. So I wrote it, and I wrote it as fiction and dual perspective, because I love dual perspective, and shared that with Sabrina. And who enlightened me to, yes, but romance is like one of the number one selling genres out there. And because it is your true story, let's make sure everybody knows that too, though. And we're not going to promote this as fiction. We're going to promote this as true story. And so thus then entered Sabrina and her fabulous team to help flush out any of the kinks. And yeah, and so we've been working together for a year, and now here we are.
Here
It's been
we are.
crazy.
So crazy. So there's two really interesting things. So for anyone who's listening who's like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? So when Celeste came to me a year ago and was like, "Okay, I have this really great love story," and that isn't the genre that I publish, but that wasn't the only reason why I thought this needed to be a memoir, because there are so many love stories and there are so many fiction stories. But what better way to instill hope in people, which I know was Celeste's main priority with getting this story out in the world, was for hope that you can manifest your dream life and love, hope that you can find a partner that checks all the boxes, if you will. And, what better way to instill that hope in people than share a true story? Because
Yeah.
anyone can make up a character, watch a movie, feel excited about something after they, hear a story, but it's so much more impactful when it's a true story, when it's like,
Yeah.
oh, those are real people, not even just a real person. This is a dual perspective, meaning that Celeste's husband, Dave, also co-wrote this book with her. So you get to hear the story from both sides. And it's so much more than just characters in a fiction. It is their real, true story with their real, true feelings and how things really went down. So I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. Of course, I'm biased, but I'll let whoever buys it. I will let you, listener slash reader, be the judge of that. But I just think it's such an interesting thing. And the other piece was, I knew Celeste from before as a manifestation expert, as a guru in this space of like 5D living, of, really connecting with yourself. And, I found her so inspiring in the work that she was doing in her coaching world. I was like, some of this needs to come through in this book, in this story. It's doing a disservice to humanity to just keep all that goodness to yourself. So
Yeah.
there's a little bit of that threads through it as well. So it's part memoir, part romance, part like personal development, part,
Right.
I don't want to say self-help because we're just trying to get rid of that as a category altogether, but it really is a combination of very unique genres that don't often go together. And I just
Yeah.
think that's what makes it so special. So
It really is. I mean, even as we've been writing it and promoting it and like looking out there, it's like, oh, it hasn't been done before. I mean, so far I've been looking up like other even co-author like partners, and a lot of them are like definitely self-help books, but they're not written as a romance. Like I haven't found anything like this. And I've read a couple hundred romances. Like I've read them all from like tame, they might kiss at the end, to very much spice throughout. So like I've read it all, and my favorite is falling in love with characters. I love it, like a good character, good build up, good like my favorite moments are always, when did the man know and when did the woman know, and then seeing each of their perspectives in each of the chapters. So that was really what I was trying to get through as I wrote this one as well, because that's always been my favorite part. And I hope I did a good job of.
you did a fantastic job. And it's my favorite to follow you on social media, knowing the story now, because I don't know if you can hear, listener, like the sounds in the background. There's like, I don't know if it's birds or
Yeah.
monkeys or something's going on over there. And if you're not watching this and you're just tuning in on Spotify or podcast and you're not on YouTube, behind Celeste is this like beautiful tropical. It's not a backdrop, like a pretend backdrop. She is, where are you now? Tell us a bit about that part of your story, like where you are now. The readers can
Yeah.
find out in the book, like where it all began and where it all came from. We won't give too much away there, but where are you now and what are you doing now?
You're right. Like it became very apparent, like Dave and I weren't consciously aware that we were manifesting. Like, even when I wrote the list, I didn't realize that that's what that was. That was manifestation. That was me declaring what I wanted for then him to walk through the doors to where I worked at the office. We worked in Vancouver at the Hospital Foundation. And what's happened ever since we've met is we have manifested again and again and again, whether it's been jobs, locations, homes, situations, collaborations, invented a kids product. Like, we've never stopped when it comes to what has come into our life. And it's been fun to watch. And then even more fun when you became aware of, oh, we're doing this. And so the most recent one of what we're doing now is we're traveling. We happen to currently be in Costa Rica and have, been back and forth for a couple years now, and, integrating into the community here. It's been beautiful. My kids are really loving it here, and our days are spent kind of, again, the way we wanted. A couple of years ago, we said, well, what would it look like to have freedom? What would it look like to have time to just live our days however we wanted and not work our 9 to 5s? And so that's what we did. So we quit our 9 to 5s and we decided to sell everything we own and go on another adventure with our 2 kids and our 2 dogs. And that's our life now. Is really, it can be whatever we want each day. And I feel extremely fortunate and blessed to be in this kind of environment and living the kind of life that I am.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, what's dropping through for me right now is to ask this question, like, what, of course, from the outside looking in, you have this beautiful life. You live on a beach, there's sunsets, like you have a beautiful family, you take care of yourself. You're a stunning human, physically and emotionally. And that's what the highlight reel shows, of course. But what would you say to someone who's maybe struggling with that idea? Like, they want to try to bring in or call in or manifest or whatever language you want to use, like their dream partner, their dream life, their dream scenario, but they're feeling like they're not there. Like, you're different somehow. You are just one of those people. Maybe you're lucky, or maybe you just this or whatever. Like, what would you say to that person who's feeling stuck?
And I do get that. I do get that. Well, that's just, it worked out for you. And I'm like, no, it did not. I mean, yeah, I'm giving you the highlight reel. Yes, you're right on all the positives, because I do want you to have hope and have inspiration on what is possible for your life. But it has not been easy. And honestly, like, I wrote an epilogue that was 9 pages long, and our fabulous editor was like, Celeste, that's really depressing. Like, there was a lot in there that was not, we're going to end on a high note, girl, because I just threw in the gamut of, honestly, the last 15 years and the trial and tribulations that it takes to get to a place to receive a life like this. Because we are all we're all programmed. We're programmed through our upbringing. We're programmed through our life experience. We're programmed through society. We are programmed. This is just how the world works. It's very normal. And so when you're not aware of sometimes why you do what you do, sometimes a lot of crap can happen. And what I've only come to understand is many of the things that happen for us, only now in retrospect can I realize happened for us. And so we have now, in the last few years, been able to live our lives that way. We actually live our lives in a way, understanding everything is happening for us, even when it's difficult and even when it's hard, which is allowing you to not take it so seriously and personally and like the world's going to blow up. We lost jobs. Even before we came here, we were surrounded by a forest fire and almost didn't get to come here. And we left our house with flames across the road. And we looked at each other and said, well, if the house burns down, I guess it's happening for us. But it took a lot of work to get there. And to understand now, only now are we able to go, why was our house not selling? Why when we met, we were in like so much debt and we had so much baggage and we had to get to know each other and start a family while we were unpacking all of our baggage. And so I think what it comes down to is like, life's not supposed to be easy. We're supposed to be here to learn. We're supposed to be here to grow. But what can be helpful as you're navigating some of the harder chapters in your life is really just surrendering to whatever it is, because there will be some type of message or something that is supposed to be happening for you. And you have to trust that sometimes you won't understand that till down the road. And in retrospect, like there was a job that Dave was supposed to get when we lived in London, Ontario. It was designed for him. It was described him, his experience. It was his alma mater, like everything for him. And he didn't get it. And we couldn't wrap our heads around that for a very long time. And it's only now that we realize he wasn't supposed to get that job, because we wouldn't be living the life we are now. We were meant for more. And so I think it's just important for everybody to just, nobody is living a highlight reel. And because even for me, it's taken a lot in me to embrace allowing myself to declare that I'm living actually as well as I am right now. I feel bad that I shouldn't be actually shouting how good my life is. But I feel like even last night, Dave and I were just having the conversation, like, I have a feeling like now it's my turn to win. It's my turn to succeed. It's my turn to flourish and thrive. And I think I want people to know that that's possible for them too. But my whole life, most of it has always been struggle. And it's just, I've unpacked so much of my life that I'm now allowed to leave that behind and trust that it doesn't always have to be hard, and it can be easy, and I'm allowed to enjoy it, and I'm allowed to thrive in this life as well. And so, yeah, it looks like a highlight reel now, but
yeah.
yeah.
And I find it so interesting because I work with a lot of women who are just extraordinary women who are doing extraordinary things. They're doing TED Talks and publishing best-selling books, and they're making a lot of money and they have exponential wealth. And it's interesting because the same thing comes up. And I love that you said the word trust, and you said it a couple of times, because it is learning to trust not just yourself, but trust the process, trust the divine, whatever it is you believe in it, like God, Mother Nature, the universe. Like, trust that there's something guiding the path, that, it's not just your responsibility it is your life is your responsibility, but it's not only everything's on your shoulders and you have to do everything. It's like, just trust that there's something out there working with you in collaboration to bring this forward, whether it's manifestation or, dreaming or vision boards or whatever it is that you believe in that can do that with you in collaboration. And I find it so interesting, like my mentor is a very, very wealthy woman. And it's like, we talk about receiving as if it's like, it's selfish or it's greedy or there's something wrong, because that's it, exactly like you said, how we've been programmed. We've been programmed to believe that like enough is enough and you shouldn't want more than that, or you shouldn't desire more than what is enough, because that makes you greedy. And it's like, if we can have exponential wealth, exponential freedom, exponential love, exponential everything, then we can overflow into people who don't have enough. So why wouldn't we be open to receiving more and an abundance and an overflow
100%.
and everything that could ever be, anything our heart could ever desire, if our hearts are in the right place? And I think that old paradigm of the belief that rich people are bad, or rich people are greedy, or they're going to implode the planet and something awful is going to happen. It's like, no, I think exponential love, wealth, freedom, sovereignty, whatever is your desire, to have an abundance of it means that you can overflow into the people who maybe don't have the belief in themselves yet, or maybe don't have access to that yet, and you share that trust. And I think that's what you've done with this book. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly, it's become very clear for me that that's part of my mission in this lifetime, is to show that you actually can have it all. Because part of my programming is like, well, you already found love, so you should stop. You got one of the buckets. Oh, you've got a healthy family. You got 2 buckets. Now I've got freedom. Oh, like that's enough. And so it's like, what if we could have it all? Like, again, it's programming. Like, no, I am going to be probably one of the wealthiest people that there is, because the plans I have for that is so far beyond what I'll ever even be able to communicate to others what I plan to do with that. And like, because of our history, even in the nonprofit field, it kind of feels like it was also always by design that we know we're supposed to serve humanity. But how can we do that without knowing that when someone needs help, I can write a check and I can just be there to support those causes at the drop of a hat? And for me too, I want to be able to do that without even having to go through a nonprofit because I know how they ran. And so I would like to be able to give it feed the mouth. I would like it to go to the person as quick as possible without administration. And that's part of our goal. And so receiving, though, even your point about receiving, it's taken me, like, part of the work, part of the inner work is in the place to receive that I'm allowed to have all the things. And even time is one of those ones, because it's something as humans, we talk all the time, like, if I just had time, if I just had time. So I'd ask for time. So I was given time in the last couple of years, and I didn't know what to do with it. And I did not feel worthy. And I felt, well, my worth was tied to production. It was tied to a paycheck. And so a lot of what I've been going through is allowing myself to receive time and the flow of the day, to allow my nervous system being regulated as its number one priority, to allow the rhythms of the weather dictate sometimes when things get done and don't get done. And it's, I want to show people that we actually can have it all. We can call in love. You can call in a part. And also I'm a little tired of people saying, well, I'm too old, or it's too late for me, or whatever. I'm like, look, you're here on Earth. Honestly, guys, like, it's a blip. Like, it's not as long as we think it is. We think that it's like forever. It's a blip, and it's yours. It's your life to live. You might as well do what you want with it. That's it. Just so, because also with all this manifestation and all these buckets and all these things, you can't get that, again, like what Sabrina said too, like, if it's source, if it's universe, if it's God, whatever that is, can't be delivered unless you get clear on what you want. At least for yourself, take the time to sit and pause and get clear on what you want. That's what this list served for me, to call in the love. This is what happens to me when I journal and write things down about what I want in my life. This is when we write goals. Again, as you said, vision boards. It can come in different forms, but there's no way for it to get to you unless you actually do know what that is. And it might not come immediately. Like, we lived in Mexico last year for 7 months in a small town. And when we were there, all of a sudden we clued in. Dave's like, oh my goodness, on our honeymoon in Mexico, I said, I'd like to live in a small town in Mexico one day. So I was like, you did this. That's why we're here. Like, it was like such an old manifestation from like so far before that he'd even asked for. And now we were living it. Like, you don't know when they're supposed to show up, but you are supposed to be the vessel to get clear on what it is that you want, so that you can receive what it is you're wanting to call in and what you deserve. Because the truth is you actually already set the plan in motion before you even came down here. So you might as well surrender and trust the process of your life, learn what's coming through, because you asked for these lessons, because you're here to evolve here on Earth. That is the point. And allow the lessons to come through so that you can learn them And I think sometimes too, when we think about hardships, like, so an example for me even was a lesson I believe in this lifetime that I'd asked for was to experience love. Well, you can't experience what it feels like to have it if you haven't also felt the absence of it. So I had to go through having it taken away from me. And I touch on it a little bit in the book, but this is why I think too, like Dave and I really poured our hearts into different pieces of it to know that it wasn't always like this. We did both grow up in households where love was not given very freely. And so to have it now, I sit in so much gratitude of the frequency of it and to be able to feel it so completely. And so that's just one of my kind of examples of obviously one that I'd asked for here. And that became clear through writing, honestly, that I was like, oh, okay. And then all the pieces start clicking.
You know, it's crazy. So I don't know if you've seen, and this is so weird that this is coming through for me, but I'm just going to trust it. I watched this movie called Evan Almighty with my kids. I don't know if you've seen it. It's where it's like a
Long
Noah's
time ago.
Ark thing
Yep.
with I don't even remember the actor's name, but he's a comedian. Anyway, there's a scene.
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman plays God,
God.
and
Yeah.
he says something, and he's something along the lines, I'm paraphrasing, but it's like, if someone prays for patience, do you think God gives them patience or an opportunity to be patient? And if he asks for courage, like, does God give them courage or an opportunity to be courageous? So like, if you're praying for something, it doesn't always come in the form of what you're asking for directly. It comes in the form of an opportunity to practice that skill, to build on it. So it's the same with love. You know, you don't just go, please bring me everything I wanted in a partner forevermore. It gives you the opportunity, like you said, to figure out what you don't want, and, you know, to understand what love feels like and looks like, so that you can really call in and manifest the love that you want. I think mainstream manifestation has gone a little overboard, and it's all a little bit too much, right? So when you hear the word manifestation, I don't want you to be like and like turned off by it. What we're talking about here is much deeper. It really is this sort of idea of like calling in what you want. But I just want to encourage the listeners to think about that, what we just said around, it doesn't always come in the form of exactly what you want immediately upon the request. So really looking for the lessons, really looking for the opportunities of growth within that.
Yeah.
And I think that's, you know, you've done a really like, the book is a very cute and fun and easy read. And because it is written almost like fiction and a love story, but it's not really fiction, it's your true story. And so like, there's so many layers to it that I think do such a beautiful job of amplifying this, what we're speaking to now about truth. Like, this is a true story. What better way to really speak to truth than tell the truth, right? It's like, there it is.
Yeah.
And, you know, this manifestation piece of like calling in what you desire and really just anchoring in what it is that you actually desire, figuring out what that is first. And all of the pieces, and having Dave's perspective tell his side of the story too, I think adds in a really nice angle and layer, because we don't always see that side as women. You know, we certainly don't get to hear that depth of voice from men, because it's not very often. Like, men don't really write love stories very often, right? Of course in history they have, but you know, it's just not that common of an experience. So I love that you've sort of like checked all these boxes, if you will.
Yeah, I know. It honestly is what makes it so unique. And so I really do hope people fall in love with just seeing what's possible.
Yeah.
Just knowing that it is possible, and that you can also know, like, the trusting of the moment, the trusting of within. And again, it wasn't always easy though. It's not like you connect and it's a love story that, you know, is perfect. Goodness no. Like, we've just, lucky for us, we like to, for sure, we were supposed to do this life together. That's apparent. We were supposed to. We actually lived a block from each other for 3 years and didn't meet till we did, because the timing wasn't right. And like, we have basically been each other's mirror of growth. And we've been married to different versions of each other. And the biggest time we ever have conflict is usually when one of us was not growing, when one of us was not willing to take a look at what was coming up. And but we've done it in a way that we've been able to always been respectful for each other. Because again, if you start slandering within arguments or times when they're tough, those are the harder moments to take back. So if you can be respectful even in the hard times and just realize that you're just, again, here to grow, and you can still grow even in partnership. And then I think we have just such a gift because we, in a way, like, we almost unpack too much. Like, it's almost like sometimes it'd be nice if we could just have surface conversations. Like, I think both of us would just be like, could you just not right now just tell me what I just did or what I need to go sit and think about or whatever that is. But it really is a gift that we have. And you're right about the opportunities, like what you were saying about the movie, because that's the part where if you realize even in the weeds and even in the hard times and even when it's difficult, if you can realize it actually is happening for you and could be the very thing you actually asked for, but you just have to get through it till you can see what it was all about. It could, like, you probably made it all happen. And it's for something you've asked to learn or something you've asked to grow for. And on the other side, if you can get through it, just keep going through it and keep unpacking those layers, it can be absolutely magnificent.
Absolutely.
On the other side.
And I think just to interject one more thing before I have you tell us where to buy the book and where to find you and how to work with you and all the beautiful things. It's like when you mentioned a lot of people say they're too old. And I hear that not only in love, but in, I'm too old to write a book. I'm too old to start a new business. I'm too old to do that. Or it's just like, they're just done. It's like, I'm just not going to even try because I'm too old. That belief system is crazy, because I've seen and heard stories, the most magnificent stories of people starting. And I, in my 40s now, feel the most me I've ever felt, the most like connected to something bigger, the most like motivated and driven and excited and happy and in love and all of those things. And it feels like I'm just getting started. It's like I had this sort of like awakening in my 43rd year of life. It's like now I'm on this like trajectory upwards, and it's, I would never have imagined that in my 20s or even in my 30s.
Totally.
That, like, all of a sudden I'd wake up one day and be like, what is this life? This is amazing.
No, totally. Because even in my 20s, I used to think someone in their 40s was old.
Yeah.
Like that's over the hill, right? That was what we were told about our parents.
The Golden Girls era.
Yeah. So I
like
totally,
in their 40s.
You mean it was over. And so we've done the same thing where I've had to, like, again, unprogram that viewpoint. Yes. And then we even have this conversation now. We're like, okay, so if we're halfway through our life, like we've made a choice that, like, we've just set the intention, we're living for a while. We're just like, we're going to be well into our 90s for sure. So we're like, okay, so we're halfway through. Well, if we've already done this much, and we're halfway, and that's what I mean. I'm like, we're going into our thriving era. We're going into, like, it's all going to be good, because I'm also not going to sabotage it. I'm not going to get in my own way. I am just going to thrive and enjoy it and like allow it to come through me to support humanity with everything that's about to go down. And it's just, it's kind of fun to see what's possible.
Exactly.
And what really, like, we're just getting started.
Yes.
I know.
So totally. On that note, Celeste, tell us where people can get started with you. Where can they find, obviously they can go purchase the book on Amazon today, the release day of this very episode. So go get your copy on Amazon. We will, in the show notes, are the links to amazon.com, amazon.ca. But you can also just search The Love List book by Celeste Pennington if you are in a different country. Where else can they find you?
Because it'll be on Kindle as well. Yeah. And so, because that's how we read here, because we can only ship. So Amazon doesn't exist here either for us. So that's fair. We have to pre-plan.
Yeah, and in the next couple of weeks, it'll be available at 39,000 retailers all over the globe. So it'll be everywhere and anywhere you can imagine. Exactly. But for today only, it is Amazon is the focus, but by the time you tune into this episode, if it's a month from now or 2 months from now, you can probably get it anywhere you want.
Yeah.
But
So
where can
maybe my
people find
website.
you if they want
Website's
to
probably
work
the
with you? Yeah.
best place right now. That's where I'll have everything on the book, because we've also got information on there. We're going to also, again, I should mention, like, this isn't just about the book. This is about a movement. I'm really ready to allow, we all need a little positivity.
Yeah.
And the world can be a hard place sometimes. And I want to give a place for people to feel inspired and hope and feel good. And so we are starting a podcast. Dave and I have already interviewed a whole bunch of different couples. We are getting love stories. So they'll be on YouTube and on Spotify and Apple as well, for people to tune in to hearing other people's love stories. Because it's not just Dave and I. There are so many people living in love, and it's beautiful to hear. And after every episode we've recorded, we both feel so good and so charged. And it's been so much fun to do.
Yeah.
So anyways, that will also be on the website, because people can apply to have their story shared. So that's on the website, the book. And then also, working with me. There's a couple of different ways to work with me. To be honest, I'm very selective these days on where my energy goes. But at the end of the day, I really want people to be living their best life and have everything it is that they want. So maybe they can just go onto my website and get more information.
Well, we'll link the website in the show notes too. So if you're looking to find Celeste, you can search her up on Instagram, her website, get the book, tune into the podcast. There's going to be so many ways to connect with Celeste. So Celeste, thank you for being here today. And honestly, what I'm hearing is this is your way to pay it forward. You're spreading love the way so many others spread negativity and drama. And it's like we're taking back. Like we're fighting back with love, like throwing love bombs out into the world.
And it might make you throw up in your mouth a little, or you might just absolutely want it and love it. And so take it.
No, I appreciate you being here so much. And just that you've put this book out into the world, and that, you trusted the process, and you've really embodied everything that we talked about today. And it's just so incredible to watch and to participate in. And I'm just so grateful for you. And thank you for being here. And thank you so much for tuning in. Till next time.